And we were dazed and confused. Welcome back to the final episode of Boys Love the Boyfriend. Starring daishun. daishun. Hello.
Hello. I'm daishun.
Coming to you here from WSBT. I'm daishun.
Here are today's top stories.
You know what? I had a lot of enjoyment watching the show that I did not think I was going to have because people were freakazoids about it.
Yeah. I am glad that we watched the show, not live.
I am so happy we waited
6 months.
Yeah.
I think it's better for our mental health.
100%.
And for a lot of people's mental health, I think.
100%.
Just to not to engage in that energy. Because the show warranted none of that energy. And we already had that feeling, right? Like before the show, like I feel like we're going to watch the show and realize that like, oh, it's not
These are real people.
Yes. It's not going to be as crazy as what it feels like it was
in conversation
presented to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
And it really
After
wasn't.
10 episodes, I am safe to I can proudly say there was nothing on the show that warranted people going absolute nuts.
Never.
Nutsy cuckoo.
No.
Even in the worst, which we saw, I feel like in these last 2 episodes, like in the worst in someone, still totally understandable.
I think at the end of the discussion, we're going to talk about maybe our notes for the show overall, because I think it feels like we do have some things we
have to address.
But let's just do 9 and 10.
Yeah, let's do the last storylines.
Last storylines.
The finale.
Mm-hmm. A departure.
Yeah. And then the departures.
And then departures. Mm-hmm.
And then we not that we rank, we could try and rank it with all the other dating shows, but they've all been so different that it's hard to rank.
It is actually very hard.
I've liked all of the dating shows that we've seen. There are things that I like about all of them.
Yeah. I think this one is one I have like maybe the most notes for, but it also feels like, it's
their
the
first time
season.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like if we had recapped His Man 1,
oh, girl.
the notes I would have had.
Yeah.
Episode 9 starts with everyone coming back from their little private trips, their little private excursions, as it were. And immediately you can watch in the recap or the reaction, I was gagged because Shun comes back and he goes, well, we did it. And Alan goes, Kazuto's like, you had sex? And he goes, yeah. Yes. And then I paused. And I screamed I choked on my scone that I was eating. I was not eating scone. I couldn't deal.
Breathe, yeah.
Couldn't believe
for 5 minutes, and then we yapped on about wow, that's crazy that they just did that, and then fully
we talked about logistics of how do you have sex in front of hidden cameras? How do you feel comfortable enough to do that?
They probably stopped the cameras after a certain time, so that's when they waited.
Do you put a t-shirt over the camera to make sure it doesn't pick anything up? Do you have an agreement? Blah, blah, blah. Do you sign something?
Right.
And then we turn it back on. He goes, I'm just kidding.
Weird.
So that's what you're missing, I guess, in your reactions. You're missing absolute drivel and nonsense. So that was fun. And everyone's very ooh, they definitely kissed.
They definitely kissed because they were you've got afterglow.
Afterglow. Morning glow. Morning glow. Starts to glimmer. There was this conversation that Taeheon's journey on this show in the back half of the episodes is because
it's clear that he doesn't have a romance storyline.
Correct.
But it never even felt maybe it was the editing, right? But it never even felt like there was any spark that he felt for others and then how others felt for him.
Yeah, I just think it wasn't in the cards for him / them. This just wasn't the group of guys to like have someone that, you know.
But you know who are the group of guys that do have romantic feelings for Taeheon?
This group of two.
This group of two right here.
And you know what?
And the duck.
And the duck and the dog. I don't begrudge them listen, these are shorter episodes.
Right.
We'll talk about that later. These are shorter episodes. You're not going to give him a narrative that simply doesn't exist. You can't conjure something up out of nowhere. This is my big conversation about reality TV editing that I always have, where I say, yes, you can evil edit. There's no evil editing in the show, by the way, but you can evil edit, but there has to be something to evil edit. It can't come from nothing unless you fully manufacture it.
It's like full diabetes runway. My look was inspired by the Alps of the just piece together dialogue.
Yes. And the show, I will say, in its benefit, you do not feel the hand of the producers on this show.
No, it really feels like we are capturing like what's going on.
This is 30 days where these 10 guys all live together, and then you just watch. And the only thing is like they go, oh, here's who's going to work today, and then here's who's going to go on dates.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the only thing that feels like.
Even in the editing of how they like quote unquote decide at the end, it even feels like they just came up with it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the part of the show that I really like. The lack of writing, of overwriting.
Yeah. So Taeheon's journey in this back half is his struggle to come out of the closet. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's really treated. He talks about it here in episode 9. He also finishes his time on the show in episode 10 talking about it. And I think that like we talked about it a little bit last week, how it's sad. It feels, for me at least, I think for us both, it feels sadder when someone older feels like they can't come out yet, because you would think, well, you have more independence. You have more financially independent. You are not relying on your family in any way, shape, or form.
You don't need to prove yourself.
Right. And so that's why he has this journey about being like, I think I'm finally like brave enough to come out. And I really hope, I mean, we're like a degree of separation away at this point, because Dabbit hung out with him. So I
feel like we know
I feel like he's friends.
He's our friend.
He's our friend.
And as our sister.
I hope it like went well. Like I'm curious. I would be curious.
I'm sure they talk about it in the reunion.
Oh yeah, true. Mm-hmm.
Because I think the reunion is like post the show coming out too.
Yeah, so. And we'll be watching that next week on
on the Patreon.
But I just think like Taeheon is so special. And while it was, I guess, frustrating just as a viewer of the show being like interested in Taeheon because it felt like they didn't give him a narrative.
Yeah.
I also like do understand there is not all the time in the world available to the show to just like delve into each person's interpersonal life.
Right.
So it's fine. But I'm
even glad that they even gave him this amount of time.
Yeah.
To close the show.
Yeah. So Gensei gets to go on. He gets to do his final. He
gets to go on a shift. For one of these last shifts. Yeah.
So he picks Ryota. They go on their shift. They work together. It's very sweet.
Yeah, he has this like kind of talk before going with Taeheon of like, it feels like he's settled with his feelings, knowing that Ryota will still like Kazuto.
Yes.
So it kind of feels like the usak thing again of like, I'm making my peace of like, these are my feelings and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And at first I was just like, oh, growth. And then you're like, oh, it's because
when they're all coming back from their dates, they keep showing Ryota like looking at Kazuto. Mm-hmm. And so, it's very clear that Gensei is picking up on this as well. So they work their shift. He does Ryota's makeup and hair on the way out. It's very sweet.
If I was a Mua and I got to look at that face all day, I would.
Yeah.
Just like a
let's
great
just
canvas.
close out Gensei Ryota because there's a lot of nonsense that happens at the house.
I know.
That will take like an hour.
This Tshirtgate.
Yeah.
And then the finale. That's pretty much what is the rest of the show.
So Gensei and Ryota go work together, and at the very end, they have their little post-mortem, and he says, I just really wanted to say all this stuff, and like, I initially thought you were the one who wrote the letter, and I misunderstood, but then in that misunderstanding, I grew to like you and like find myself attracted to you, and while I never was upset that you didn't like me, I realized halfway through you liked Kazuto, and that was hard. And then we did that little date yesterday, but then I saw that you were just watching him coming back, and so I realized that you still have feelings for him. And I think you should express those feelings. I think it's really important that you express those feelings, so that basically his point is you should express it so that you don't have regrets.
Yeah.
And in the conversation with Taeheon earlier, Gensei had talked about how Alan's advice was to any decision you have to make sure it's one that you will feel happy about.
Yep.
And I liked the phrasing of that instead of being
too.
do just what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Which I think can be weaponized.
Can be selfish sometimes.
Can be super selfish. Make a decision that you feel happy about, meaning
you can live with that decision.
Yes. So, and then Taeheon says, yes, but don't overthink about everything either, because that's also not good.
Yes.
Everything, too much excess is bad generally. So, so then in this conversation, he is like, so anyway, I wanted to let you know that I will be leaving
today.
The green room today. I am leaving the show. And the way I was bereft watching this, because I think Gensei, a person who incredibly sweet,
incredibly gentle, soft,
very gentle, very
but
soft,
still very attentive, and in the you could tell he was really in the show. He felt connected to all of the guys.
Yeah. It did not feel like he was it was a decision that was there's nothing left for me on the show.
I know that's what the way he was phrasing everything. It didn't feel like Usak having to leave, that he was only able to really stay this long. It was I think I've achieved what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah,
which is interesting, because I'm sure if you ask everyone else, some of them probably could say that. It's interesting that there was only 3 days left. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the panel sums it up really well, that it was he had given everything he could to express his feeling,
right,
and was just fully. And Ryota at no point was Ryota unkind or
pushing
malicious,
him away or anything. No,
I mean complete, and even went on the date and I think gave it a real fair shot of totally. Trying to be is there something here?
Yeah.
But I think. And I think I like that the show also didn't make it feel he's just he can't. Mm-hmm. He's quitting early, and it doesn't feel like he's quitting either. No. It's just I think that's it. I think that's all I have to give to the show.
Yeah,
and that's I have to leave. So then obviously Ryota is very shocked by this, and then later at the house he informs everybody, and they are all first of all. As soon as he says it, he starts crying.
Yeah.
And he immediately hugs Taeheon.
I know.
And I think that's the real thing, is over these last 3 to 4 episodes, the way everyone, and we'll talk about this later, I wish we had seen more of the advice.
The friendships and the advice and helping each other out. Yeah.
And I think it was very sweet that everyone, it really did feel like Usak leaving, but different.
Because Usak's felt it's so fast. It's so sudden. There was so much. They were just getting to know each other.
Yes.
And here it's like the end of camp. Like it feels like the end of camp where it's like, oh,
my mom picked me up 2 days early.
2 days early, and I'm not ready to say goodbye yet, even though we know we're all going to say goodbye.
Yes. Yeah.
I know. It was so sweet because he was like, I've been practicing saying that to try not to cry, and I couldn't do it. And he just like crumbles into Taeheon's arms, and it's so sweet.
Yeah. The way you watch the show, and you can tell how much they all really like each other.
Yeah.
Which is impressive because I feel like we didn't get as much chance to like see all of that lovely friendship that I would have wanted. I think we saw a good amount, right. But I wish we'd seen more.
You said it and the panel said it, right? Like the name has a double meaning of like they're trying to find boyfriends, but they're also like it's friendships. But I do kind of wish that the show extracted a little bit out of the dating aspect of it. I mean, they have to sell the show as a dating show.
Yeah.
But like the show, I feel like is more effective as like for like finding companions, finding relationships, forming like actual relationships. Some of them may be romantic. Some of them might just be like real, true friendship.
But I think it's good that he gave Ryota, because I think the other reason he's like, I have to leave so that Ryota can feel like he can say his final thing to Kazuto.
I'm not another burden. The next morning, Shun is back on her cold cat era. So
this is like while Gensei and Ryota are at the truck.
Are working, literally. And so Dai's like, yeah, I just feel like he's on something again today and I don't know why, blah, blah, blah. They're figuring out what to do for the day. What should we do today?
What should we do?
What should we do? And Shun goes, I actually would prefer if I
was
alone today.
Mm-hmm. And they were like, why? And he was like, well, I want to stay away from one person. And then points at Dai. Okay. So then we have the rest of the day where Shun is sulking.
Mm-hmm.
The house is
awkward,
moodified.
Yeah.
To use a wicked term. And
Dai's
a bunch of things happen.
Dai's trying to get to the bottom of it,
but also knows that Shun needs his space.
Knows that Shun needs his space. He knows that it's about the night before he was taking a shower.
Oh my God.
He was taking a shower and then Shun was like, here, just wear the shirt. I barely used it. And he's like, no, that's okay. I'll just use one of my shirts. And he's like, no, wear my shirt.
He took the shirt. He
did not wear it.
He still didn't wear it. He was like, okay, I'll wear it. And then didn't wear it. And so he was like, I think that's why. And I think it was either Kazuto or Taeheon that was like, that's why. You know that's why. Like when they said, oh, you know that's why, I was like, that cannot be why. I will rip every hair out of my head. This is why I'm wearing a hat now. I'll rip every hair out of my head if that's why.
You're bald now.
I'm bald now. I ripped every hair out of my head. It's partly why.
Yeah.
So here's what then happens.
Here's Ikuo, our sister.
Our 22-year-old sister.
22-year-old sister sits with Shun and was like, what's wrong, Diva?
Ikuo is fully, and I actually don't really begrudge Ikuo for doing this. Well, partially. Ikuo is like, it feels bad in the house. Everyone is treading on eggshells.
I don't want to be sad today.
No.
He doesn't say that it's for him. He like obviously frames it as like, for the house, for the good of everyone here.
Yeah. We should figure this out. So then but the way he does it is he's like, okay, well, I'll talk to Shun and convince him that we should have like a house meeting about this. Because he tells Shun like, well, the way you're acting
is like is affecting all of us. So
Right.
it does involve all of us,
Correct.
basically, is what he was trying to say. And Shun even says like, it's really minor. And I know that why I'm doing this is really small, but it's big for me. So I just know everyone's just going to say,
it's stupid.
Oh, that's nothing. But Shun is convinced that he's like, okay, but then yeah, maybe it's right for everyone to talk about it, because I think he was also being open of like, well, yeah, my actions have caused this in front to make everyone feel bad. So Iko was like,
God,
amazing.
Great.
Let me bring the good news. Good news.
She's dead. The Witch of the West is dead.
He goes out and there's like, guys, but the translation though was like, we decided. Did you notice that?
Yes, we decided together, he and I.
That it
this
would be
is
best.
Also, I didn't even bring this up. This is actually after Equo and Dai have a conversation separately in which it's implied that Equo still likes Dai.
Yeah.
So that is also
that's
in the
another
mix
layer. That's a layer too.
Of like, what's the motive?
What are you doing? Yeah. What's the motive? There's always a motive. And he's like, we've decided that we'd like to address the situation together. So if we could have a moment of everyone's time.
Just to all talk about what's wrong with Shun.
And Dai is like defense mode. Fully is like,
why would you do that?
Why are you doing that? Why are you like inserting yourself in this?
This is not the only time, but I wish I spoke Japanese. I wish I was fluent.
Because I wanted to know how it changes. Like,
because Japanese, I feel
rude?
like very often, unless they're obviously like yelling, it's a very even keeled
tonally
tone.
It changed.
Yes. But it was like,
he had a tone.
I want to know the words and like what specific, like, what
what is he emphasizing? Because he's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Kazuto just stands up and walks away. Alan follows.
Me, running.
And Taeheon is just like, on my phone.
Oh my God.
And like, you could tell Ikuo at that moment realized like, oh shit, should I have not have done that?
Yeah.
Because he takes a long time to answer and then to be like, I didn't mean to like impose.
Yeah.
I thought this was just like good for everyone.
Mm-hmm. So Alan and pretty much everyone else is like, we don't need to do this together.
Yeah.
Dai and Shun can have their own private conversation. Right. That's fine. So,
Dai now Dai sulks and hides in his room.
Yeah. While they all figure
this out. Ikuo obviously feels so bad. And then Dai comes out and be like, Alan, can I talk to you? Which, like,
oh my God. This would be the worst. This is the worst day at the house.
This is the worst. Gayest thing that they have done in the show. Gayer than the two men kissing. This is the gayest thing.
It's just like so. I said this in the reaction where I was like, it's just, you've all been living together too long.
Yeah. They all
we're
need
at
space.
We're at day 25.
Yeah, because
we have to wrap it up.
That's what I was saying. If this was a situation in real life, Shun could just be like, I don't feel like going out today. You guys have fun. I'll just stay home.
Here's the thing. Okay, so Dai and Shun work it out. Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Let's look at it from each main player's perspective.
Sure.
Shun. Okay. Shun's reasoning for why the t-shirt upset him is because his ex, who he was in love with, the way he would express his love would be to wear Shun's clothing a lot.
But here's the thing. When he said that, I could still feel he was conflicted about that, right?
Yeah.
Because he's like, I was, at that moment, I was waiting to see you reciprocate those feelings because that's how I've received it in the past. Mm-hmm. And then as he was saying it,
he was like, oh, wait.
He was regretting it. He
You're
was
not
like,
the same person.
That's, I hate that about me that I felt that way at that moment because I shouldn't do that because that's not how you are. That's him, not you.
Which I do think I think Shun is a person who needs to talk, but is very averse to talking about things. Totally. So I do think it's good to like sit him down and be like, okay, let's actually talk about it. I think Dai is very straightforward. Like, let's just talk about it. So the problem is like just getting Shun into a place where he feels protected enough to have that conversation.
Their conflict management feels like could work with one another. You just need to like massage like what's the best way to get into it.
So that's fine, right?
That's fine.
Like I think it's fine to have like weird feelings about your ex. I think it's fine to have weird feelings about this new guy who you just made out with, and then you had this like preconceived notion of like, oh, if he wears my clothes then he really likes me, and then he doesn't do the thing that you like in your mind
have said like that'll
and you just
prove
start
it.
spiraling.
Yeah.
That's all. You know what?
That makes
That's
sense.
so normal.
Totally.
Whatever. Fine. My issue, and this may just be it might be extremely American, maybe even very Midwestern.
Yeah.
Of being like, I still have to make everyone in the room comfortable.
Right.
I cannot. There has been one time in my entire life when we had a party at our house and I ruined the mood. So I still it happened in 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
And I think I still have like nightmares about it to this day. It is the worst I've ever behaved in a group setting in my life. I feel embarrassed. I will feel embarrassed about it until the day I die.
Yeah.
It will haunt me for the rest of my days. I could never sit in a group of people. I think it's one thing to be like, hey, I'm not going to hang out today.
I'm not feeling it.
And then you go to your room and you lock the door
and you play your
crawl
little
under
piano.
the covers and you play your little piano. You take the keyboard with you into the room and you play your little piano. Fine. Everyone would get the point. Shun's in a bad mood, but Shun has removed himself from the equation.
Yeah.
I could not be the person who just like...
It's him. It's because of him that I feel this way.
I don't want to go with him. But not in a way where he was like, he doesn't come off as angry. He just is like, I don't want to be around him.
Yeah. Well, also,
But also like, that doesn't sound better than being like, I don't think he's obligated in any way to share all of this information with all these guys who he's not actually romantically involved with. Like, I think it's fine that he doesn't want to say like, I'm having this weird reaction about a thing that my ex did, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he has to say that at all. I don't think I can't be around him. Diva, we've lived together for 25 days at this point. Please be so serious, hun.
It's like, God, come on.
So that I can look at it and be like, oh, sure. My brain, my empathy turns off at that point. I can't because it would make me feel crazy because there would have to be a level of like, you don't see the world around you to realize that like everyone is like, yikes.
But that's the thing. That's Dai's point, right? When they have this conversation, Dai is like, I understand all of that. I understand now that you're telling me this. That makes perfect sense. It does.
This is fine.
And if it makes sense to you, it makes sense to me. But I can't. What's challenging for me, Dai, is that you are so quick to just shut everything off. All of the good things that we've done, all of the goodwill that we've worked on together can just quickly go away when you all of a sudden get this way.
I don't think if there's anything I would say about Shun, like maybe this isn't the environment for Shun.
Yeah.
Is just, I don't think he is a person built to live with like 10 people for a month.
Totally. And that's fine.
That's fine.
You don't know until you sign up for the show.
Exactly. You don't know until you're in the thick of it.
Yep.
And that's fine. But that is like my only like, whoo, baby boy.
I know.
Oh, girl. This is what I want to say about Equo before we get to Dai.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think that he is doing this
to drive a
sabotage
wedge.
and drive a wedge.
No, I don't think so.
I think that would be completely out of character for him.
I think he was probably doing it to help Dai because he's.
Oh, sure, to help Dai. Sure. I was like, not to help them. I don't think so.
Because he says it later, like he says it when they have this conversation, right? It's like, what's wrong, Diva? I feel like you're hurt, and when you are hurt, it makes me feel hurt. Like because I don't want to be in that position that you are right now, and you've helped me help clarify my feelings, for Kazuto, and I would love to be able to do the same for you. So with the best of intentions, right?
Yes, Ikuo is a very great example of someone who has really good intentions and is 22.
And
by that, I mean everyone who's lived a life. Not that I'm saying 22-year-olds can't live lives, but anyone who's been around enough people long enough has been like, if it's a personal thing between two people, I am simply not going to involve myself in that because that is between the two of them. Unless there's a physical altercation,
that I'm
there's
involved
verbal abuse going on.
Yeah.
If they're just like being pouty at each other, yep, it's super annoying. I dislike it. I probably, if I was one of the people in the house that day, I would have hung out at the pool all day. I would have just been like, I'm going to read a book. I'm going to play my Switch. I'm going to do anything.
The thing. Everyone that was 27 and up were like, they'll figure this out. They'll figure that out.
But Ikuo, with all his good intention, is like, I think I know. I can see the problem.
I can see it.
We can all see the problem. Everyone can see the problem.
Yeah.
They just need to talk to each other. I don't know the part about like bringing everyone in.
Yeah, that's a little.
That I think, but that I think
that's a little Real Housewives.
I think that spurred out of we all are feeling weird in the house.
So let's all address it at the same time.
Maybe we should all talk about it. Let's all discuss your problem together. And I think, unfortunately, that sucks for Shun as someone who I do think is very like.
I do think he cares about what other people think of him and how
he often thinks he's the problem. And I don't think a bunch of people being like, hey, you're the problem is going to help that at all.
No, it'll just make him feel worse.
Right. Which is why Dai was like, why would you do this? Yeah. I think that's the biggest reason Dai gets so upset. I think he obviously gets upset because it's like, why are you involving yourself? This is so strange. Yeah. But also, I think he knows Shun well enough to be like, this in no world would this help him.
Yeah. But what I will say with Ikuo, he is immediately remorseful afterwards. He regrets it. He feels so bad.
He feels very sincere how sorry he feels.
Everyone is really kind to him.
Yeah.
And like the best advice that happens is like you have good intentions and you don't know until it happens. And then you realize that you made a mistake. And so you just don't make that mistake again.
Yeah. Period. The end.
That's how you have to live your life. That's how life works. That's life, Emily.
Unless you're the new Tesla robot and you do everything perfectly from the get-go, you're going to make mistakes.
That is our town, Diva.
That's our town.
That's just how life is.
Thank you, Emily. Grover's Corners,
everybody. Corners, New Hampshire.
Grover's Corners, Japan. So then Dai
and Shun talk.
Well, I just want to say this from Dai's perspective. I think Dai is extremely emotionally intelligent, well beyond his years. Mm-hmm. I think this is what when watching the show, even at the beginning, I remember being like, oh, I was surprised Dai is so young.
Yes. Because
even from the little that I knew about the show, and I just expect him to be older.
And like the chicken thing, right? Like there are moments where he kind of, when he's tested and challenged, he tries to kind of like come at it very logically, methodically.
Yes.
Very stern.
Extremely logically. But also without... Sometimes I think people can look at things logically and then they just fully have no empathetic quotient at all whatsoever. And he does... That is not... I mean, he's got such a like great... He's got such a great like head on his shoulders, honestly. He's just like he can do it all. And I think he was right to have given Shun the space that Shun wanted. He'd already figured out that it was about the t-shirt, as silly as that sounds to begin with. But the thing I like the most about Dai is that he does not take it personally.
Yes.
And this is not every person. No. This is why I don't think there are a lot of people that could be able to handle what Shun is doing
in
the show.
I know, and that's why I think they're made for each other because Dai, you can see here, he likes being that person. He likes he's willing to do that for someone that he loves and like clearly has developed feelings for Shun, that he's like, I like being able to deal with this or learn, invest in the time to figure this out with you.
Dai trusts Shun.
Yeah.
This is what I think is fascinating. And I want to talk about the panel now. Dai, when he hears the information that it's about this ex and the wearing of the shirt and how he would show his love and blah, 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 Dai doesn't go, oh, well, that's an excuse. Dai goes, that's Shun's truth. Mm-hmm. And that's literally just what it is. And now I know that and I can react accordingly.
Yeah.
Because he has learned that Shun is extremely honest, even if it makes Shun maybe like look a little crazy, which I think it does. And I think that's also what Shun is like, I'm going to look crazy.
Yeah, I know that about me.
My frustration as I've watched this show is I think the panel does not have the same... I don't think you have to be like, oh, I totally get Shun and he's such a little baby. I don't think you have to do that. Nor do I think that we've talked about Shun like that. But I think that they are very quick. It feels like the subtext of whenever they talk about Shun.
It's like, wow, Dai, what a great guy Dai is to deal with the heavy cross he has to bear.
Which is that is Shun. And it's always Shun just keeps doing all these things to test him, which leads into this idea that like Shun is this like manipulative monster
that he's
just
been
like,
making these tests. All of these have been tests.
All of this is testing Dai, and it's like
all of these are testing Dai, but Shun's not actively choosing to do this. These things are coming out of him
these
reacting.
Are natural tests. Like
these
this
are
isn't like here's today's pop quiz.
Yes,
it is literally like, oh, here's just how I'm reacting to something. How do we, as a team, work through it?
Yeah, totally.
That which is actually how relationships work.
That's they're dating right now. They're literally going through.
Yeah,
they're dating.
And I've noticed this every week, but I've been like, maybe I'm just like really reading into it because I know. But I finally, like in this one, I just was like, is there a part of it that like the audience was and I think a lot of people came to their own conclusion about Shun
right.
on their own, I'm sure.
But because they have the talk piece, like the...
But there's no one in the panel that's like, well, Shun really blah, blah, blah.
Right.
There's no one doing the devil's advocate,
yes.
even if they don't believe it. I think you need someone there to be like, I don't think Shun is like a bad guy. I think he's just like...
The exchange panel did that. Mm-hmm. Like they would always be like seeing it from the other person too.
Well, and also the exchange. I mean, exchange is a show
about seeing it
being
from
like you are in a struggling, failing relationship, or you did struggle and fail.
Yeah.
So like that is inherent to the show proper.
Yeah.
You go into that show as a viewer knowing, oh, these people have problems. That's why they broke up. Mm-hmm. His man obviously doesn't have a panel, so it gets to skirt around this.
Yeah.
But I don't need everyone to be like, everyone's perfect, because everyone's not perfect. There's no perfect person on the show, even though the panel themselves literally call Dai perfect. And I think Dai is a wonderful person.
He is not perfect.
He's not perfect. And I think I just would have liked to see a little more understanding, even just like reference towards Shun sometimes that I just feel like doesn't get referenced.
Yeah.
And like even when we get to the end in episode 10
and they're like, wow,
and
he really got him.
He really put him through the ringer, but did he do it.
Yeah. I was like, no, he's just trying to.
They just struggled on this weird fucking show where they were in front of cameras for 28 days trying to date and make coffee.
Yeah.
And like you all get to dissect, I would say every moment, but it's only
they're watching ours as much as we are.
Not even an hour, so like not even 10 hours.
Yeah, they're watching at least 40 minutes of just
like 8 hours of 28
30 days.
28 days.
Yeah.
and you get to make every. And I don't know. I feel like I'm harping on this. It just like I really realized it in these 2 episodes that I was like, ooh, they don't like. Not that they don't. It doesn't matter if you like Shun or don't like Shun. That's fine. But like they don't try to see it from
Shun's perspective.
From Shun's perspective,
which is interesting because Dai's whole thing is like I'm seeing it from your perspective and I trust it and I'm believing it wholeheartedly.
Yes.
So that's why it's like,
and I think actually, here's what I will say about the editing for the Daishun story. Shun is edited that you understand why he does the things he does.
It's clear.
They give you his emotional backstory.
They give you his talking heads.
He always gets to explain why he's doing it. You hear him say, I know I'm the one being the problem.
Yeah.
I'm aware that I'm the situation here. Am I the drama? Yes, I'm the drama. All of it. They give you every out to be like, Shun is not a bad person.
Yeah.
He's aware that he's having these reactions, blah, blah, blah. And they still are just like, yeah, I don't know. He's just trying to really kill him.
Reel him in, yeah.
It's just like it's such a bummer way to look at a situation because none of these people feel manipulative in any way, shape, or form. I mean, like truly just like a very gentle gossamer curtain of a show in the way that it's like so placid.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there is drama and it's interpersonal mainly between Dai and Shun.
But we're watching 2 people start dating.
But no one is fight. No one's yelling. No one's fighting. No one's there's no fisticuffs.
No.
Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest takeaway from this whole daishun Tshirtgate is even when Shun says, if this happens again, something else is going to trigger something. And I'm going to start acting like this again. Dai says, I'm not going to let that happen because now I know that this is how you are sensitive.
Right.
So I'm not going to ever let this happen.
He's not going to do the t-shirt thing, but also generally he's going to be like, oh, he has another reason. He has another thing in his arsenal, in his toolbox to be like, is it about your ex? Do you want to talk about your ex? Is that what you're reacting to? Blah, blah, blah. Let's work it out. Let's talk it out.
Yeah.
And while I could never be this person, I need to be so clear. I am not mentally strong enough to also be mentally strong enough for someone else. There are people who are like that. There
Dai
are people
is someone
able to do
that can do that. And he likes doing it.
Yes.
He wants to do it for Shun.
Yes.
That is the important part.
Yes.
If you are a person who are like, I could never do that, great. You don't have to. But there are people that
it's like the Florence Nightingale energy. Like they want to genuinely take care of a person. I want to provide care to you. That we know as audience members, because they showed us he did not receive growing up. So why are we all acting confused?
Why are we all mad at him?
He didn't have a fucking family.
It's so funny. Yeah, it really is like, well, he's taking advantage of this guy's like generosity. I'm like, it's mutual, divas.
Okay. I've said my piece.
Gensei left.
Bye, Gensei. Iko
is working the next
shift. He picks Dai, and then at the end of their shift together, they have their little conversation, and he does say, I think everyone in the house, I don't know why, everyone in the house seems to think I like Kazuto.
Because you said so,
Because you
diva.
Because you said so. But he was like, as we were having conversations in the house, I actually realized the real one I had the most feelings for is you.
And he said, Shun actually gave me the advice that like, if you can come up with 10 things about why you like someone, then you like them. Mm-hmm. And he said that it was so easy to come up with 10 things.
Yeah.
For Dai.
He could come up with more things for Dai than he could for Kazuto. So that's where the episode ends.
Yes.
Episode 10 starts with Dai's
rebuttal. Response.
Retittle to the retattle.
Retittle to the retattle.
Yeah,
to the rebuttal.
To the rebuttal. And it is, thank you.
Thank you. I'm in full bandwidth right now with someone else.
I'm sorry. I can't take on any more projects at the moment.
Yes,
thank you so much.
But I am flattered.
My commissions are closed. But he does say, like, when you first joined the show, I thought I could have a crush on you. Mm-hmm. He's like, here's all your great qualities. Mm-hmm. You're incredibly fun. Like, you're very sweet. You do household chores, blah, 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 which does say to me that Shun does not like to do household chores, which is so funny. and you're a real catch. But he says, like, Shun, I've never had a person where I can just like be silent with them and it's comfortable. And that's what I have with Shun. And it really is. He starts the show. Dai starts the show. First of all, again, I want to remind everyone that the only friends we've ever seen on the show are Dai's set of friends. Which is so
that's
funny
right.
to think about.
When Dai started the show, he was like, I'm here to fuck.
Dai came on, I completely, and Shun was right to think this, by the way.
Yeah.
Dai came on with fuckboy energy.
Yes.
I don't think he was like a lech or anything, but I do think he was like, I want to
party. I'm here to have fun.
I'm here to have fun.
It's Jersey
I'm here to
Shore.
have a good time.
Yeah.
And this statement about being like, I've never had a person that I felt comfortable in silence with. I was like, you are in love with this person.
Yeah.
So I think it's wonderful. Yeah. I think it's great.
I think you could also try that. Maybe as a challenge to sit and be silent, I think, with me. I really appreciate that.
Go ahead. Wow. I'd like to keep it on, please. Kazuto gets the next shift. He takes Alan. And they have this conversation. Well, first of all,
Ryoto makes some lunch.
Ryoto makes some bento box lunches.
So sweet.
Ryoto.
Ryoto sometimes.
Ryoto, I hope you find the man or woman of your dreams.
Or alien of your dreams. I swear to God, like you.
Anything, whatever you're into, I hope that you find it. I love it.
The sweetest thing.
He's so sweet. I don't even know if he's weird.
It's not weird. It's just, sometimes it does, because he looks like he could be devoid of emotion, but
Yes.
he is so in tune.
Oh, he's incredibly thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a great guy. He makes some bentos. Okay, so they're having lunch on their shift. It's rainy.
And then they have dinner afterwards.
Well, in this conversation, Kazuto says, like, I wanted to talk to you. Mm-hmm. You've really, I've learned a lot from you since I've been here.
It's different with you than everyone else.
Yes, I feel differently about you than I feel about everyone else on the show. Blah, 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 blah. And I agree with the panel. It did feel like it was
thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
I've had a great
I really
time.
appreciated everything.
Yeah.
This is the end of the line.
Yeah.
And I think that's how Alan took it.
Yes. He sat in his room and
goes back
cries.
to the room and like cries. Yeah, it's very sad. So, Shun, the next day,
we make it to the last shift.
Shun is picked for the shift. He takes Dai. And it's just a regular shift. And then,
surprise, they all came.
They all come.
And they all have a shift together for the last time. One last time, I need to be the one to take it on.
And that's really lovely. They finish the shift. They go out to this really nice dinner. They wear suits.
Yes, they wear suits. Which one was your favorite look?
Oh, Shun. Shun had a three-piece suit on. He had a waistcoat.
I'm all in on taeheon. I love the ascot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't like his belt. So that was why
I'd prefer it off too as well, or around my neck.
Oh my God. Well, girl, I hate to tell you, I don't think that's Taeheon's gig.
I don't think that's Taeheon's gig.
I don't know. In fact, I don't know what the two of you would do together. Let's just say that.
Shake hands. Clap. Oh.
They have this fancy dinner. Alan has this speech about like learning from everybody and grateful for the time they've been there. Mm-hmm. Alan is a very Alan
EQ.
I am so happy that Alan was
in the show. He really broke up, like he made everyone activate, right?
Yeah.
Because he was so outgoing. But honestly, that first overnight date with Kazuto, you could tell that he really learned how to be like, I have to bring it back. Not that he was, I think he probably came in being like, let's just go for it. Let me be a little more extra to kind of help liven everyone up. Yeah. But I felt like he learned how to like just trust being with the flow of everyone else instead.
He's the opposite of me. So and by that I mean gorgeous. Did I just read myself?
Yeah.
By that I mean when I am in a new environment, I become completely silent.
I know. It's really shocking. Because you're very loud, overbearing at points, I think. Dude, it's your show. Go ahead. I'm more comfortable in crowds than like new crowd. Like
you are very good about. You are very. I think I'm like fine at small talk as well. I mean, I was raised in the fucking Midwest. That's all we do. But I have to. I'm so scared about how I will fit in, and I don't mean fit in as like everyone likes me, but how do I? What is my role in the group?
In the group, yeah. Whatever, yeah.
Because I know that I am a lot, so I have to like, I feel like I have to warm everybody up to me. So I just have to be like, hi. My first presentation as myself is like, hi, I'm polite and I'm competent.
Yeah.
Especially in a work environment.
Right.
It's about like, I know everything. I learn everything really quickly. And then over time, that's when I start like, letting my personality come out. Alan is not like that. Alan is... I'm here. I'm queer. Okay.
And my hair's touched up.
Diva.
Yeah. But people really look up to him.
Oh, it's like, very clear.
I mean, like Dai would not have been able to get through that Tshirtgate without being able to sit and talk to Alan.
I think he like provided a lot of comfort to a lot of people. I think there's when Equo leaves later, he says like, you were like a big brother to me. Like, I really think like Alan being on the show was I think everyone on the show that was so special, but I think like Alan specifically, because he was kind of like, he became the de facto like speaker for the group.
Yes. Yeah.
And felt comfortable enough.
He's able to address what people want to address.
Yes, but also like do it really thoughtfully.
Yes, without hurting people's feelings.
Without hurting people's feelings. He always leads with kindness. He says that later, like kindness is very important to him.
Right.
And I think there's like a dearth of kindness in the world. Right. So it's very nice to watch him have that mantra.
Again, you know why? Like he had to be a parent. He was a parentified child.
Yes.
He had to be a parent for his younger sister. Yep. And so he's always had that nurturing kind of just self.
Yeah. They do a cleaning montage. They clean the house. They clean the truck.
You know, that they get their deposit back for the Airbnb.
And we finally get the departures.
And it's hard to say goodbye, my love. It's hard to say goodbye.
So, first one to leave is Taeheon. I think we've said a lot about Taeheon this episode, but
what a special man.
What a special man.
My friend, you know, our friend Taeheon, because we are 1 degree away from him.
Taeheon, if you want to, you know, follow in David's footsteps and comment on this episode, that's fine. Let us know that you've been watching. I would actually throw myself out the window. It was bad enough when David did it.
Yeah. I feel like someone will comment.
No,
I have a sinking feeling.
I don't want that at all.
That someone was like, thank you for watching the show. Because they all have YouTubes.
Well, we know about... Yeah. Well, we know. We know they have YouTubes. He leaves. Equo leaves second.
He does feel like... Because he came in late, so he had a lot of catching up to do, and so he played up a lot when he first came in, and he was able to learn a lot even in the short time that he was there. And I really do feel for Iko. I mean, it's tough being the maknae in the group. He couldn't eat.
He couldn't eat until everyone else ate.
Yeah. But you could tell that was his biggest...
God, we're going to run that joke into the ground.
You can tell that was his biggest, like... growing pain. I mean, the panel said it, like, these are growing pains that you're experiencing. Like, you just have to experience life.
Yeah. I liked Equo a lot. And I'm glad. Another reason I'm glad I didn't watch in real time is I'm sure
People were like, "Oh,
people
it's
were
his
very
fault."
weird because he was getting in between
the OTP.
The OTP, yeah. Next, Ryoto leaves, but before he does, he has a private conversation with Kazuto, and
this is how I found out. Like, oh, this is how they're doing it.
Yes. So he finally says everything he wanted to say, which is more of what he's already said. But I think just being like, I've liked you from the beginning, blah, 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 blah.
He did say that, like, you know, he wanted to give him space, but because he kept thinking about him as the time went on and as the time was ending, he was like, I think that proves that I do have feelings for you.
Yeah. And I think Kazuto, honestly, I do not envy Kazuto's journey on the show.
No.
Because there was a lot of guys, and while I think in theory it's always fun to be like, oh my god, I'd love to have just
to be
men
the one
crawling all over to get me.
No, that you just hurt more people's feelings.
You hurt more people's feelings, especially in a show like this where the pretense is like you're looking to find a person to like spend time with, not just be like run through them and get a train going. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That's not what the show is. That's the show we're gonna. That's the show we're.
That's the show we're starting.
Yeah. And I think he always really did it. He did it with enough. He knew when he needed to do it with not force necessarily, but like be very clear and be like, I don't think this is happening or whatever. But he was always
so gentle.
Always really gentle. Yeah. Always very respectful of their feelings. It wasn't like I could never like you. Like I don't think that Kazuto is attracted to Ryota. I think that is like really where it starts for him. And there is, I guess, a world in which he could have fully just been like, I've never liked you.
Right.
I don't know why you keep doing this, blah, blah, blah. And it would be true, but like, what's the good in doing that? Right? Yeah. You still have to like be a person who like lives with yourself at the end of the day. Like you. Anyway, he's just very nice and very sweet, and lets Ryota down gently. And Ryota asks, "I'd like to leave with you." He says no. Ryota leaves, and then he cries on his way out. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
And Ryota, we're rooting for you. Okay, so then we get Shun and Dai leaving. And Shun and Dai are
back to the beach.
No, they hug everybody.
They hug everybody.
Together.
Basically, everyone knows that these two will at least be the ones that are going to talk.
Yeah.
So let's just say goodbye now and then we go.
They don't just talk on the patio furniture outside.
No, they took their stuff to go to the beach.
A crew went with Shun and Dai to the beach so they could have this chat. And I swear to God, Shun runs through he recaps the entire show.
Yeah.
More efficiently than we ever could.
I know.
He says,
it's like he was there.
Here's what happened. You came in. I thought you were one way. I reacted a bunch of different times. We had moments, blah, blah, blah. We argued.
I just wanted to be friends. And then that's actually how I liked you more. Yeah.
And then he says, oh my God, I'm going to cry.
I can't believe you're crying.
He tells him he loves him. And then Dai says it back. And I didn't think.
What is going on?
I didn't think. What? I was not expecting. Love is such a huge word.
Totally.
And I think often these shows, like, they don't
say that word
because it's like,
no, of course not.
And especially like, I mean, this show is so
in a queer
different.
show.
Especially in queer shows, but like our other queer shows we watch is His Man. And you're there for 8 days. It would be crazy
insane
for you to be like, I love you.
If Jun Sung at the end was
even
like,
if Jun Sung, who I do think was in love with each other,
I
think it still would have been crazy if they said it.
Yeah.
This, I knew they were I've watched the show. I knew from like 2 weeks ago that they were in love. But I was like, I don't know if they know that that's what that is yet.
But
And
they
so-
do. They do know. That's why they keep playing these games.
Also, I
They
want to say
keep going
this
back
too.
and forth.
As soon as they were like out of the house, and then Shun was just like giggly on the
Yeah.
beach, I was like, oh, I think we just need to remove.
We just needed to
get out of the environment.
Yeah.
We need to leave.
It was getting real musty in that.
Yeah,
Yeah, dank. Just because of all the humidity, you know.
Humidity, yeah, the water, yeah. And so they say they love each other. They go, they kiss, they leave, they kiss again. And then Dai's like, I want to see you as soon as possible.
And Shun says, I want to see you every day. That's the thing. These 30 days, they were dating. They were going through dating. And it makes sense that by the end of the 30 days that they're in love. Totally makes sense.
we get kazuto to Alan.
Now this one, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah,
Kazuto's gonna let him
Which that's
down.
why I was shocked, because I was
Yeah.
like, I can't believe they're gonna end on
The one that's not,
yeah.
a not couple.
I knew they were gonna. I had a feeling they were gonna end with this one because this was the question
This
mark.
is the question. Who was Kaz? What is
Right.
Kaz gonna do?
And so I was like, but risking it by being like, oh, they're not gonna leave together. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then Kazuto gives the speech and is like, again, I learned a lot from you. You're different than everybody here.
And I want to learn more.
I fall in love very slowly. It's extremely slow. You thought 30 days was long?
Diva,
Bitch, give me
good
3
luck.
months.
Yeah.
But I want to leave here with you. And so Alan is like, okay,
Of course we
of
will.
course.
He says, of course we will.
Oh, God. So then they leave and they hold hands. And it's all very just pleasant.
Yeah.
It is not the same.
And that's why I told Adam, this is probably what the show expected that they'll get. He's like, we'll probably get one of these.
Yeah.
They did not expect the wave of daishun
Emotion. Yeah.
that they were getting. They were like, we caused love.
We did it.
Oops.
Yeah. We set it up.
We really got a hit.
And that's
the
boyfriend. Season 1. It has to come back for season 2. This was such a hit. Okay. Notes on the show.
Okay. I really appreciated. I do like the time spent. I think you could see that they probably
The month,
Yeah.
you mean?
I think you could see obviously like the growing pains of them spending too much time with each other, but that's television.
Yeah.
So I think I've come out liking that time. Do I wish there were maybe 2 more episodes? Possibly. Just to fill in a little bit more of like the friendships, because I think they came out with the show as like equal to the Dai and Shun of it all, the actual closeness that all of these guys have.
I
formed
think the
with one
takeaway
another.
is supposed to be, look how close these men have gotten as friends.
Totally.
But I don't think they do enough job. And it's harder to show, right? Friendship as narrative is like, you just show them like giggling and have inside jokes. Then you have to explain what the inside jokes are.
Yeah.
Like, it's harder to do. And that's why I think His Man is more successful in showing those, even though obviously there's less time they have together. You still have those moments of them being goofy.
Yes. But the time pressure helps them seek out advice from everyone that they have immediately categorized as friend.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And here, because it's stretched out longer, I think the advice is more in depth and thoughtful.
Yeah. And they've really gotten to know each other and like know what the advice that they need is.
Yeah. But I understand in a show where you're trying to edit narratives, the advice has to be caused by action.
Correct.
So they have to string it from things that happen.
There's not a lot of action on the show. I don't know. Okay, here's my big notes. I think there should be either more episodes or the episodes should be longer. I think, especially for it being a 30-day show.
I know.
Like, we get 14 episodes out of an 8-day His Man, and there's 3 weeks on exchange, and we get like 22 episodes.
22 episodes.
This
each
was
2 hours long.
30 days, and I got 10 45-minute episodes. And that's listen, for binging purposes,
for
it's
Netflix,
great.
yeah, great.
But you didn't even release it as a binge.
Totally.
You release it over time. So I don't know what that felt muddied and confused.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
I think I don't think the coffee truck worked. I don't know what I think it was like cute, and I think it was like nice that it was like a routine.
Yeah.
And it didn't put as much pressure on it being like that they're going on dates. But nothing ever happened at the coffee truck.
Right.
We never really saw any
yeah.
interaction that like made it worth being like, oh, they're like flirting with each other. Like when they show the coffee truck montages in the episodes, and it's like one thing happens, they sell a latte to the oldest man you've ever seen on screen, and then the real conversation is afterward, where they get to talk about whatever.
The most interesting thing that came out of the working was honestly the usak chicken thing, because it was like the budget.
Yeah,
because that setup could potentially, like, if let's say Dai liked usak for some reason, he would have been like, well, this whole thing may challenge what I feel about him because we're being put in a situation where I have to work with him and I don't like, we clash here. Yeah. It's just another place where they can see if they're compatible or not. That I almost wish maybe if it wasn't a coffee truck, then it was something else where there's more people involved rather than just two. Because if it's just two people and you do go on a date or whatever, if you're not picking that person for a date, nothing happens. Yeah. But if you're like having to go with like a group of 4 or whatever, and like maybe two people are into each other, or like 3 people are into each other, then you have to like see there's conflict there. I also think there's something to there's something to giving them a task that is tactile where they create something. Yeah. I wish maybe it was more that they created something together. I don't know, like if they like, I don't even know. I don't even know if it's like a truck. Like if it was like a storefront that they had where they're living in, I could see that. I was kind of thinking like, what if they ran like an inn? What if they ran the winking skeever? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a thought for sure. See, I don't know if the truck totally works for me. But I do think like... But I think it's a good idea and concept. I understand why they'd be like, what if you get them all together and they work at a truck? I think the Japanese like reality shows that are like this, they are put in a situation where they have to like... I think there is one where they run a guest house together. So maybe that's where the appeal is. I didn't like the title. Oh, you don't like the boyfriend? Or you don't like Brutiful You? I guess both. I felt like the show... I don't know. I just didn't like the title. I felt like the title kind of gave a different feeling of what the show ended up being. I wish it was called The Boyfriends. Yeah. I really do. My boyfriends. I like the drag queen. Obviously. Yes, Durian. I liked her last drag look the most, I think. Oh, with the 7 wigs. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was cool to kind of have an objective group of people talk about gay relationships in Japan. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. Just to kind of like be like, look, we're all talking about it. Because I think that's, I know they talked about wanting to have a panel for his man. Like that was an option. But I think there's still a thing of like, they don't want to outwardly talk. Yeah, 100%. There are public personalities that don't want to 100% want to outwardly talk about gay relationships. And I think this show, in its favor, did not shy away from talking. Like, these are gay men that have sex. This is brought up. Totally. I really liked that. Yeah. Not even in like I just want to see like gay guys have sex, but like it is a part of our lives, obviously. And I think in order to be the most palatable for audiences, like his man really tries to wipe that out
and just be like, it's just about love.
It's
just
BL.
about.
I mean, that's how they marketed it, right?
Yeah.
It was like a BL dating series.
Yeah. But I don't think you can only have one. I think it's fine to have multiple
Let's have multiple
options.
gay dating shows. Yeah.
Correct. Let's have one that's sexier than this.
Yeah. Let's have one that's actually sex focused.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great. Coming to you soon on the Ampliverse. Ampliverse OnlyFans.
Yeah. So what are we doing next?
It's a great question. I don't know, because I don't decide. You know who does?
The Bows and the Bobs.
The Bows and the Bobs on Patreon.
Our Bow level and our Bob level are now voting.
In 2 calendar weeks from now, we will be watching and recapping
whatever
a new show.
they vote.
I do not know which day it will be.
Yeah.
But yes.
So they're voting this week, and then whatever wins, that will be our next show.
Mm-hmm.
I am personally pulling for one specific choice. Program on those 4 choices.
Mm.
Do you feel a specific way about any of them?
Nope.
Well, good for you.
I think they're all good options. I want to watch all of them.
I have a rank of what I want to watch.
Mm.
There's one that I really want to watch. And then I think the rest of the 3 are just the same. So, don't let me down is all I'm going to say. Don't let your sisters down. Okay? Okay.
The not me girlies are pissed. Pissed. From one boyfriend to another.
From one boyfriend to another. Thank you for doing the show.
Being here,
yeah.
As always.
As always.
Do you want to rank it or no? I just think, we've only recapped 3.
I know. They're just so different.
They're so different. Yeah.
At the end of the day, Exchange is so fucking good.
I know.
Nothing will compare.
I know.
And I think there is a level of, I know Hitman 3 tried to do a little bit of Exchange storyline, right? But it will always be messy with the gays.
I felt like His Man 3, you felt the production's hand more than you felt it in His Man 2. And I liked that this one, I was like, is there a production?
Is there a production? Was there anyone? Did they just decide to do this? Yeah. Yeah. And at the very last moment of the show, Adam said,
oh my God. I can't believe it, Jane.
Has the coffee truck been behind the panel this entire time? And I said, you are the stupidest person I have ever met in my life. It's been there. Duh.
I was like, oh, they rolled it in for the final episode. That's so cool. And he goes, that was there from the beginning.
That was there from the very beginning. You dummy.
Discovering voices. Building worlds. The Ampliverse.